There's a place where the living and the dead trade whispers.
Where shadows don't just follow, they watch.
Where one thin barrier holds back what waits on the other side.
You've stepped into the veil between. What you're about to hear drifts between fact, belief, and the unknown. The veil between is for entertainment purposes only.
Our stories, research, and experiences are our own, not medical, legal, or professional advice.
So step carefully, and remember, the choice to believe is always yours.
Welcome back, fam, to the Veil Between podcast. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. How was your Thanksgiving?
It was pretty good. I just spent some time with family and a lot of time to fur babies. I got Nina. Every year I get Nina her own tuna and turkey, and she just gets in a food coma. I have a picture of her on Facebook, and she's just passed out, arm out in front of her, like a little person. It's adorable. But yeah, every year that's my goal, is to put her inside a food coma.
That's your goal?
That's my goal. Yeah, to put my cat into a food coma.
She is adorable when she's in a food coma.
Yeah, when she's calm.
Yeah. She's not a little hellion, little demon.
Yeah.
That's a story for another day, but I truly believe that cats are either aliens or demons. They come from hell.
This one maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
This one for sure, yeah.
Well, okay. So obviously with it being December and the month of holidays, we are going to stay on theme, keep it on theme for the holidays.
Yeah.
Just a quick warning, guys. Okay. If you don't want us to ruin your Christmas traditions, don't watch this episode or the next episode, because it will be a two-parter, because we have a lot to discuss.
Oh, yeah.
And to cover.
Yeah.
So turn off the video now.
Yeah, if you have soft sensibilities and you want to hold on to those traditions, should probably click to another podcast.
Yeah.
We're about to get raw and dirty.
So, okay, we've given you your warning and let's get into it. So you and I actually met. We've known each other, been really good friends for 20 years-ish.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
And I met you you were in the same unit as my brother in the Marines.
Yes.
And so I remember back in the day when I met you, immediately we got in a heated discussion, because it was during Christmas time. It was a what do they call it? Family day.
Events, family day, yeah.
Right? And it was for the holidays. It was for, Christmas and the holidays. Christmas has always been back at that time, it was my favorite holiday. We had so much fun with my family decorating the tree, and we had Christmas music on, and my mom would make cookies. It was a whole event, and it was so much fun. And I was really looking forward to it. And you kind of just hit me with a 1-2 punch, and you just told me all these horrible things about Christmas and what the traditions we do they're not what we think they are. And I was very upset.
I was too, in my defense. When I first found out, I was too. It's not something you expect. It's filled with so much cheer, right? That's the masquerade that's put on by the mainstream media, who puts out all this stuff for us to learn and to act out. Yeah, there's always that first step where the first step is usually rejection. No way. I don't believe that. No, I don't want to. I don't like it. The second step is sorrow, realizing what you're looking at now, and now you're staring at everything from a different lens. And then the third step is reluctant acceptance.
I'm still at step 2. 20 years later, I missed my Christmas traditions, and my husband took what you said to heart, and he did his own research, and he was like, "Oh yeah, we can't celebrate Christmas." And so I was a newlywed. I was a very young newlywed, so I didn't have anything. So I had to buy everything from scratch. And I was so excited, because actually our first Christmas being married, he was in Iraq. And I just went crazy, and I bought like the Christmas tree and the lights and the bulbs, everything. I had everything decked out. And that first Christmas I was alone. Like, I actually went back home, but like I decked out my house before I left for my vacation. So I had that first Christmas. And then I think I had one more Christmas, the following Christmas with my husband, before you ruined it for us. Ruined it for me. And it was all brand new stuff, and I was never able to put it back up. My husband was like, "No, we can't do it. We can't put it up. We can't celebrate it. This is dangerous." So actually, I kept that stuff in my garage for several years, probably like 10 years before I reluctantly gave it up. Like I parted ways. I was like, okay, if anyone wants it, it's a free giveaway. Hardly ever used, but yeah, I miss Christmas. Like I miss the traditions of putting up the tree and decorating the tree and singing the Christmas songs.
Well, perhaps we can come up with a remedy together during the course of this episode, and we can find out a way for people to still celebrate good times, but do it in the name of Jesus Christ.
Okay. We'll see if you can save my Christmas. Let's start off with, is it true that Jesus was not actually born on Christmas on December 25th?
Yeah, it's not true. He was not born on December 25th. That's someone else's birthday, and we'll discuss him later. I don't want to go off on too many tangents. I get guilty of that once in a while. But Jesus' birthday, according to John in Revelations, is actually September 11th, 3 BC. A lot of people, there's a lot of theologians who have used the astrological programs to figure out how the stars align during the time when John describes it. And that's the only time right there when the dragon is chasing the maiden. Dragon constellation, Draco constellation is chasing Virgo. And that's when they discovered that when he was born, September 11th, 3 BC. So we've been lied to a lot by the media. And this is the reason why, like, they began the war of terror on September 11th, is they're trying to change our consciousness and our understanding and pull it away from the truth and then switch it to something evil, something bad. And even though we celebrate, happiness, joyfulness, togetherness, we're still giving energy to the old ways, in the negative ways. And they're utilizing that for their own purposes. But yeah, he was born, and please check it out for yourself. He was born September 11th, 3 BC. There's plenty of theologians on YouTube that could show you the constellations and astrology behind it. And it's all there. And the Bible's using astrology. I thought that was evil, right? So that's another topic for another time. But yeah, the wise men, the three wise men, the three mages, the three magi, they utilize astrology to find Jesus, right? And John used astrology to tell us about when Jesus was born. Because John was a brilliant man. When you read his works, you understand that he had a foresight that we did not anticipate. And he knew to anticipate the changes of society, the changes of the world and the calendars and cultures and all that. So he gave us coordinates to find what Jesus looked like when Jesus was born from descriptions in the Bible that are timeless. Because constellations have changed right now. In modern astrology, Draco doesn't exist. I think it's been broken down and added into another one. And I think that it makes Cancer now. I might be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But I think they make another constellation now. So it's gone now. But if you go by the old constellations and you listen to what he says, you're able to now anticipate it. So see, if he were to say the birth date of the calendar that was used before the Julian calendar, we wouldn't know. We'd have no idea when he was born. So that's the reason why he gave us those coordinates, because he knew that we would figure it out in the future. The apostles, they knew what they were doing.
Okay, so 9/11 is Jesus' birthday, and there are no such thing as coincidences.
Nope.
Okay.
None.
So we think of 9/11 as the day the towers went down, the terrorist attack. I mean, that has a very every year.
Yeah.
We all, I mean, maybe not all of us, but a lot of us still mourn on that day for what we lost.
Yeah.
We still feel that sense of loss. And so that is a negative frequency that has been forced upon us. And no one would ever think, unless you're a devout Christian who knows the truth, you would not think to celebrate Christ on that day. It's a very upsetting day for a lot of people.
Yeah, I always get a lot of sideways glances, whether in person or through social media. Why are you celebrating Jesus' birthday on September 11th? Because I'll put up my nativity scene. I put my nativity scene twice a year, once on that day, and then also in September. to kind of offset the negativity that's being negative iconography that we're seeing around this time. Yeah, and that just goes to show you the power of the media. It's a meta programming device utilized by the controllers to try to change our psyches and our understanding and our spiritual understanding of the world, and to try to shape it and mold it to how the controllers want it. Whatever you want to call them, the elites, the controllers, the Illuminati, whatever you want to control them, we all know who they are. Society has spoken about them ad nauseum for a few decades now. So the controllers, they want you to think a certain way. They don't want you to celebrate Jesus' birthday. The opposite is what they want. They want mourning. They want anger. They want frustration. And they want fear, because that was the day the perpetual war was started. Perpetual war on terror. And since then, it's been nonstop conflicts, vicious ones, where a lot of people have been losing their lives because of that day. So that day, it's not just a day of terror for the United States, also the Middle East is a day of terror.
Yeah.
As well. For them, it's like, oh my goodness, this is when, the war began.
I mean, it really affected people, even though it wasn't a world war, it affected people around the world.
It did. Yeah.
It jump-started a lot of things, a lot of hostility around the world. Yeah. So that date, the date that started it, September 11th, was not a coincidence. They chose that date on purpose to change the frequency forever so that we never think of that day in a joyous way.
The laws of association. The enemy understands the arcane axioms better than we do.
And by enemy, we don't mean the Middle East.
No, we don't mean the Middle East. I mean the controllers, the opposition, those people who are trying to plunge your worldview into a negative existence.
Yeah. So if Jesus's birthday is on 9/11, whose birthday are we celebrating on December 25th?
Okay. So the $1 million question, who are we celebrating on December 25th? We are celebrating the Antichrist, and his name is Nimrod. Well, that's how we know him in the Bible, Nimrod. He has had many names. Gilgamesh, it's a few others. I can't think of, they're all trying to come out at once. I only got a tiny little doorway of information that's all cramming in, but he's had many names. This is the individual who created the Tower of Babel. When the Tower of Babel collapsed, everyone walked away speaking different languages. So, and they kept telling stories about the same great king, different name, same guy. And this is him. So we call him also in modern Western culture, Santa Claus.
No. Santa Claus was actually a real person. His name was Saint Nicholas. Okay. And he gave presents to children. It was a real person and not that distant in our past.
Yeah, I know. The appearance that we see of a big, jolly individual decked in red, that's not Saint Nick. As a matter of fact, that's Nimrod. Nimrod was known as a great warrior, a great hunter. And he was also a master of the mystics. He was just a colossal man, a very powerful man. And he was very generous to his followers. Anyone who capitulated him and served him willingly and was willing to betray God, he was very good to them. But he was very, very cruel and oppressive to everyone else. He enslaved humanity at that time and forced them to build the Tower of Babel and do a lot of other abominable things. And he was in conflict with Father Abraham and also with Noah. Trey Smith, if you ever have a chance to check out his channel, he's an amazing theologian, one of the best, I think, in the game right now. He's on YouTube, and check his work out as far as his research for Nimrod. It's far more advanced, far better than anything I could do justice to here right now. So I would say check him out. Trey Smith, check him out if you want to learn more about Nimrod and all the bad stuff he did. But that's who it is. And the reason why he's decked in red is because he was a notoriously violent individual. Killed animals, people, whatever you named it, until he was eventually overcome and defeated by Esau. Esau beat him. And that's a story for another time, because Esau himself is quite the character. Esau is described as being giant himself and very hairy. Sound familiar?
Bigfoot?
Yeah.
I think you hinted towards that, I think, in one of the past episodes.
Yeah.
So you're saying he wears a red suit because it's covered in blood?
It's covered in blood.
That's why it's red?
Very violent individual. This is the reason why they call him the man of perdition, because he's an extremely violent individual. He's quick to chop your head off if you don't agree with him. Do what he says. So this is an individual who will have no regard for people. If you read the Epic of Gilgamesh and all the stories about him, you'll understand the descriptions of Daniel and John, right? The descriptions that Jesus gives us in the Synoptic Gospels. You start to understand why they said this about this individual. A lot of horrible things about him. The Bible says the first shall be the last, as far as the Antichrist goes. Nimrod, his head was chopped off, right? So this is the wound. This is the incredible wound that Revelations was talking about, the head wound. So he's going to take a head wound, but he's going to come back miraculously. So this is why it says the first will be the last, because they're going to resurrect him. And
He's the first.
he's the first ruler of the world after the flood.
Okay.
And he shall be the last ruler of the world before Jesus returns, the rightful king. So what's going to happen is he's going to be resurrected somehow. And this is why you see in the Vatican, you see this picture of this individual in the middle, and he looks like he's rising up from the depths of hell. And they say, oh, that's the angels or Jesus or whatever. It's not. It's Nimrod. There's a lot of pagan and Luciferian iconography within the church and the Vatican, and we're going to cover it during this episode. So
You mean they don't worship Jesus Christ as God?
some of them do, some of them don't, but it's corrupted. I think we've spoken about this before, right? The corruption of the church.
Not yet.
Okay, so
I mean, we have
we
individuals.
haven't, yeah, but it's corrupted. It's very, very corrupted. And I mean, you have the current Pope right now. I love the guy. I have my apprehensions about him, but he came out guns blazing, and he's very righteous. And he's telling people, hey, we don't worship Mary, we worship Jesus. We love Mary. We honor her. We don't worship her. Jesus died for your sins. So he's doing a lot of rectifying right now. They're not liking it. The other camps in this institution are not liking it. But I love it. I love that he's doing it right now, and he's trying to eliminate the corruption. But he has quite the task ahead of him to try to get everyone on the straight and narrow righteous path again, according to the Bible. So go do research again, because this is a journey. We don't want you to just take our word for it. You have to do research too, and invest the time and learn for yourself so that you can develop spiritually. All right. You can strengthen your mind and your body and your soul through your own research. I don't claim to know it all. I know Simone here is very humble,
Thank you.
and she's the same way. If we don't know something, we'll say we don't know. But I always constantly encourage people to go out and do your own research, because being a magician, being a practitioner, you have to be able to crack open those books or listen to others, expand your mind, take what is useful, use the Bible as your compass, and apply it and grow stronger. And it'll make you better in the long run.
I was just going to say, start by reading the Bible.
Start by reading the Bible, yeah.
It's the OG, right? And the thing is, it's not enough to go to church.
It's not.
Because they purposely leave things out. They purposely teach in such a way that they may touch on the overall lessons that are in the Bible, but they manipulate it and twist it into it having its own, like their own message, their own agenda, and I can't strictly blame the priests and the pastors, because they go to school to learn, like, this is how you give a sermon. They're just doing what they're told. Okay. It's the higher ups. It's the Vatican. It's the higher ups that are telling them, this is the agenda we're pushing. This is the message you need to push out. We don't talk about this. We don't talk about that. Leave that book out. Leave this book out. So if you want to really learn for yourself and learn the truth, take the time and read it on your own without any preconceived notions. Like, really read it as it is, fresh eyes, without somebody translating it for you.
Good advice. That's outstanding advice. And that, because other people's translations is what leads to the false dogmas. And we already have problems, like you said, with removals of books, mistransliterations, and you have to go through the Word of God and to try to figure everything out, what it is. And perfect example is what we just touched on, of the whole astrology thing. You have other quotes saying astrology is bad. Suddenly you see men of the Lord using astrology for good. So what's going on here? And you start to understand that the word's been polluted, right? So,
well, the Bible itself has been reprinted and rewritten numerous times throughout history. to get the most accurate retelling, you need to get a really old Bible.
Yeah.
You have an old Bible. It's right behind you. It's from like the early 1900s, right? Or is it
18s.
late 1800s?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like a legit OG. And that Bible has everything. Look at how thick that thing is.
It's a monster.
It even has Revelations in it, right?
Oh, yeah. It has everything in it. Yeah. And you're absolutely right. And so this is the watered down dogma that we have to deal with, and the mistransliterations and the changes to scripture. And I believe the enemy understands that they can change scripture. They can mess with it. What they can't mess with is the promise and the word of salvation. And I've noticed that the Bible tampers, the people have tampered with the Bible. Everything around the message of salvation has been tampered with, but the message of salvation still stands the same, because the enemy knows what boundaries they can cross, what rules they can bend, what rules they can break without incurring the wrath of the Lord. Right? So there's rules to this, what's going on. There's rules and there's laws to this, and they understand if they violate it, they're going to get a smack down on them, for lack of a better term. So they mess with just enough to keep us in a state of confusion.
Yeah.
To try to lure us away from salvation.
They have to keep, like you said, the message of salvation, and they cannot remove our free will. They can't mess with our free will. But Lucifer is like the biggest narcissist, the OG narcissist. She knows how to push your buttons. She knows how to push you and push you, just like tiny little nudges, but they add up over time. And before you know it, you're just flying off the handle.
Yeah.
And that's how it happens. It's your choice. It's your choice to have road rage, and cut somebody off, or jump out and shoot them because they cut you off. But she gave you that nudge.
That's why they say pride is the greatest sin, and pride is attributed to Lucifer. It's her greatest weapon. She's capable of utilizing it on people to make them do things that lead to other sins. So it's the gateway sin. It's the worst. The ego can lead you to a lot of things. Perfect example, you said road rage. That just stems from pride, ego being bruised, and now you're going to commit violence, right? You're going to do other things, break the law, do other things that jeopardize your life, jeopardize the life of others, jeopardize your property. And it's just senseless in the end. When you wake up from that fog of pride, you wake up from your why was I going to do that? And everyone says the same thing when the road rage subsides. Why was I doing that?
Yeah. Yeah. And I mentioned road rage because this time of year, especially, who hasn't gone holiday shopping and experienced road rage, either as, on either side of it, or in the mall, or, in the grocery store, just running into nasty people who are like short and snappy and just don't care.
It gets the best of all of us.
Yeah.
And all fall short of the glory of God, and we're all susceptible to it.
Yeah.
You have to keep your guard up. And even then, when your guard's up, sometimes fatigue gets to you. You've been out shopping all day. You've been on the road for an hour. Maybe you're just tired. You just want to get everything over with. And then someone cuts you off. Or it couldn't even be on the road. It could be in you while you're shopping. Someone just bumps into you and you're like, I'm just trying to shop here. My advice is get some tea or coffee. Get energized. Get happy.
And just be chill.
Just be chill, yeah. Go out there with the right mindset. Put your shields up and try to take on the crazy currents of the world that way.
I wouldn't say take them on. I would say just kind of roll with, surf that wave. Don't join it.
Don't join it. Yeah, don't join it.
Rise above it is what I mean. Don't join it, but rise above it, and don't let it crash into you and take you down. And this is like a side tangent, but it is related to the holiday. Like I said, there's a lot of stress going around trying to get the hottest new toy for your kid, or the latest new tech gadget, the latest iPhone or whatever. At the end of the day, if there's one last toy left, don't fight over it. At the end of the day, your kid is not going to care. They may be upset in the moment, but honestly, when they look back at it, they're just going to be like, did I have a fun holiday with my family?
Love is more important than materialism.
Absolutely. I think we're so stuck in the now and immediate gratification, and we're constantly thinking giving gifts, giving toys to our children is what makes them happy. But at the end of the day, it's really about being there.
Yeah, absolutely right. But back to the whole false dogma thing, you see a lot of it. And you get warned about it constantly in the Bible, just being careful. This is the thing that's going to upset a lot of Christians. Most Christians don't read the Bible.
Yeah. Well, because they think it's enough to simply go to church and have somebody preach at you. But like I said, you and I already know that what they're preaching at you is not what is in the Bible. Even if you follow along. I mean, if you do follow along, you'll be like, I just skipped over this.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that I see people say, and I'm just like, where'd you learn that from? Oh, my pastor taught me. I'm like, whoa, where did he get that from? Right? Like, whoa, how did he arrive to that conclusion? Because, I've read the Bible like probably 12 times in my life, and I'm probably going to start on my 13th one next year. And I don't remember some of the things that are said. And I'm like, whoa, where'd you guys get this from? Like, this goes against everything.
Well,
it's in the Bible.
I've seen you online where you ask them, where is it in scripture?
Yeah.
What book is it? What line is it? And they can't tell you.
I'm always willing to listen. I'm always willing to
Yeah.
Where'd you get it from? Is there a missing book? Because there's a lot of missing books, right? That I don't know about. I'd love to hear about it. Is there a mistransliteration of it? If so, let me hear about it, right? A lot of the stuff that I see is just coming out of nowhere. Like the worship of Mary. I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? Right? I love Mother Mary. Don't get me wrong. She's special, but she shouldn't be your primary focus. She's not where you're going to get power from, if that's for sure. But then again, that leads to, once again, false iconography, because you just said it. You gave it away. Who are they really worshiping? Right? It's not Mary. It's just, they're saying it's Mary. It's not. It's Lucifer. Because, and this is going to sound crazy to a lot of people, but if you read the Bible, it's right there. Lucifer is a female.
What?
Well, at least that's the preferred form, because angels can take whatever form they want, but the preferred form is a female.
How do you know she's a female?
It says it right there in Genesis.
What does it say?
It says, and this is something that's glanced over by a lot of people, right? It says right there in Genesis, God looks at the woman, looks at the serpent.
The woman meaning Eve.
Eve, and the serpent meaning Lucifer, because the serpent's Lucifer's nickname, because Lucifer's true form is that of a dragon. He looked at the two and he said, I will put enmity between your seed and the woman's seed. That meant they were both with child. A lot of people glance over that. Adam got them both pregnant. It's a threesome. I know it sounds juicy. The Bible's filled with juicy stuff. And that's just shows you right there. Just glanced over. So theologians are always mistakenly saying, well, Lucifer tempted Eve. And yeah, you're right. But Lucifer it's not a male.
Wait, okay, hold on. Is the threesome the apple?
No, the apple's part of it. But I think they engaged in relationship afterwards. The apple was taken, it was original sin, was sin itself, knowledge of good and evil.
Okay.
Once you became privy to that, you welcomed it into your worldview. And once that happened, we became tainted and we were no longer able to dwell with God.
Okay, but it wasn't the threesome.
It wasn't, no, that was just part of it. But that they said between your seed and woman's seed. I was like, whoa, why did he say that? Everyone glances over it. And that's a lot of credit goes to Rob Skiba, one of my favorite theologians, because he says the same thing. People don't read the Bible with an open mind. They don't just listen to the Bible. They listen to the Bible with preconceived notions that are filled in their head with their crazy pastors. They come up with all these crazy ideas. And you're like, well, where does it say that?
So did Rob Skiba also say that he believed Lucifer was a female?
He didn't say that. I've never heard him say that. But what I heard him say was read the Bible with an open lens. So when I went through it again, and I went back into, I think I read back in 2017, and I read that line right at the beginning. I was like, holy, that's it right there. That's the smoking gun that everyone glances over, because everyone's just got their own idea instead of just listening to the word. Read it, listen to the word, and you will learn some crazy stuff. And this is the reason why you see statues of a woman, iconography of a woman being worshipped. The main one sitting right there in New York, and I talk about it all the time ad nauseum. You're probably tired of listening to it. The main one sitting right there in New York, but we call it the Statue of Liberty. It's not the Statue of Lucifer. So you're probably wondering, well, how?
Oh, I'm sure the audience is wondering how.
Yeah.
I know how.
So when you study the occult and you begin the path of the practitioner, you start to see things for what they are. You start to learn names, symbols, nicknames, things like that. So Statue of Liberty wears the Morning Star crown, Morning Star being a nickname of Lucifer, right? Holds a torch, the light bearer, forbidden knowledge. Forbidden knowledge being the promise that Lucifer offered humanity, right? Knowledge of good and evil. The Morning Star crown, light bearer, woman, Statue of Liberty right there. So, and like I said, if you don't believe me, that's fine. Please go to research and awaken your mind, okay? you will start seeing things for what they are. And it's pretty terrifying because then you start to realize you start to wonder who controls
It
the world that we
shatters
live in.
kind of, it's like the Matrix kind of, it shatters your reality.
It's a really good, it's a really good analogy.
I mean, I'm not breaking out of the Matrix. This isn't breaking us out. It's painful. It's painful on this journey. You're like, is there anything that's not a lie? Like,
Yeah, right.
What? My whole life is a lie. Like, what?
Yeah, it's all lies. And you grow up loving that statue, right? Yeah, that's a Statue of Liberty. I love that thing.
Yeah, I went.
I loved it.
I went. My parents took me when I was really young. We traveled cross country and we went to the Statue of Liberty and we climbed up the stairs and it was so cool. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. That memory is always going to stick with me. But yeah, now it has a totally different meaning. And I was smiling earlier when you mentioned the morning star because if you know what Danica means.
Yeah.
My name, Danica, means morning star. So I like telling whenever I have the other day, I think a few weeks ago, we had someone to come over from the church, like trying to pass along the message of Jesus and stuff. And because, you know, they like, as the icebreaker, oh, what's her name? And then, oh, it's Danica. Oh, that's such a pretty name. I'm like, yeah, it means star. And then they're like, oh, and then they slowly back away. It's really funny. Anyway, that's the little fun that I get to have.
That's with Christians going door to door. Yeah. But, yeah, it's right there in front of our faces. A lot of it is there. We don't even realize what we're looking at sometimes. I can ruin a lot of stuff for people. We'll probably have an episode of that. Just me ruining stuff for people.
I've ruined some stuff for you too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we won't.
We need to go over this. We need to have a Let's Ruin Your Day episode. Just, you want to know what Starbucks symbol stands for? The girl with two tails? Let's do it. Let's do it.
Let's do it. Not today though. Let's get back on topic. Okay.
On topic, yeah.
All right, so we talked about the birthdays, and we talked about the Santa suit, or Santa in general. What about the rest of it? Okay, so what's so bad about the tree?
Oh, goodness, the tree's the worst part.
It's the worst?
The worst part.
The worst thing.
Yeah, and a lot of people are going to look at me like I'm crazy. Everyone, and when I tell people this, usually when I tell people this and I have conversations about this, there's so much resistance because everyone wants their tree so bad. They love their tree.
Yeah.
I love my
There's like a
Christmas
whole
tree.
song about the tree.
Guys, I'm sorry to say this. The tree is a talisman of evil, okay? Dating back to the days, probably before, but from as far as my research personally goes, I can confirm that going back to the days of the post-Diluvian period, the immediate post-Diluvian period. So what does that mean? After the flood, shortly after the flood that had happened. So there are magic systems rooted in evil that exist, all right? Very powerful ones that the ancient Israelites combated, and they had to deal with the Canaanites, the many tribes that lived in that area. They inhabited the promised land. So when the Israelites were leaving Egypt and they were told to head to the promised land and then go fight for it, they had to combat a lot of these crazy Nephilim tribes. Okay. So a lot of these crazy Nephilim tribes were doing some vile stuff. And around this time, wintertime, for their false gods who were demons, fallen angels, their false gods, they would commit a lot of heinous sacrifices utilizing trees. And it was always during this time. I'm not sure what the origins are. I'm not sure if it's something Nimrod came up with because he used to do a lot of vile stuff back then, or if it's something they developed over time. But I do know the purpose behind it is to provide negative energy so these entities could come into our reality, right? So this is the reason why, and it spread throughout the world after they were inevitably defeated. But this is the reason why we see so many sacrifices. The purpose behind a sacrifice is to generate enough energy in a negative sense so that the false entities that are being worshipped can come into our reality. It's an act that terraforms the etheric layers and terraforms our world so that entities on the other side, disembodied entities on the other side, come through into our reality. So in a nutshell, that's why a magician's understanding of what's happening. So the trees were utilized for a lot of vile things. Now, sometimes they didn't really matter what tree they had. Some of them were sacred. Some of them were just find a tree. From my research, that's what I've gathered. So some of them had sacred groves. And this sacred grove still exists today and is still utilized by evil, like Bohemian Grove, for example. Still, according to a lot of researchers and a lot of conspiracy theorists, it's still a place that's being utilized for these horrible acts. Okay. So they would strap babies, women, especially young virgin women. It's sad. Women are always victimized by evil. They're always being tricked and victimized by evil. And the other one is captured Israelites and individuals like that they would beat in wars. So all these people that they would gather up, they would strap to the tree. They would either hang them from the tree, which is where you get ornaments from, or they would strap them to the tree and set the tree on fire and burn them all alive. So this is where it all comes from. And that's where you get the idea of lighting the tree. So all the traditions that we practice now are echoes of the past. And we're giving energy to the arcane laws of association, laws of contagion, laws, all of them, to these vile acts. And we're resurrecting some of the energies and providing energy for those beings. It's all about energy by committing the acts of the past, and because the universal consciousness still remembers it all. So if it's similar, it's going to resurrect those energies. This is the reason why, and the first thing you learn about when it comes to safety, and you start learning about the arcane, is you be careful with whatever dead languages you utilize and whatever symbols you utilize. Because if you don't know what they mean, fully understand their origins and the power behind them, you could invoke something into your worldview that you might not like. So you need to be careful. You need to do your research. Being a magician is doing a lot of research, making sure you have a grasp on what you're doing. So that's basically why they tried to trick us into accepting these awful ancient practices. Because back in the day, it was awful. It was terrible. But you're still giving energy to it, even though now it's a little more pleasant, more palpable. Because nowadays, I would like to think that people are a little more civilized. I mean, we're heading into an area where we're not, but people become more civilized and they wouldn't tolerate something like that. And the evil that leads this world know that. So how do we make this more palatable while we can still siphon energy from these individuals without having to sacrifice children and women? Because we know they're not going to stand for that. They're going to lynch us. There's too many of them. They'll overcome us if they eventually wake up from this. So how do we do this? So we make it a little more pleasant. And this is how we come up with modern day traditions. But Jeremiah, Deuteronomy, those books in the Bible, Jeremiah the prophet and Moses warned us about these trees. This is the reason why he says, don't be scared. Because everyone's like, well, why not? Why is he saying don't be scared? And a lot of theologians, where they go wrong is they don't study the other side. They make presumptions, but they don't know what's happening on the other side. See, as a magician, I study the other side. What did Jeremiah mean? What's going on here, right? And so you have to start asking yourself that. You start studying the other side, you realize the dark systems of magic. You start to understand, oh, this is what he meant. This is why he said this.
Why did he say don't fear the trees?
Because could you imagine walking up on this tree after the Canaanites have done what they've done? You're an Israelite, maybe scout, soldier. You're about to go fight these guys. And you see the tree and you see these twisted, charred forms. And you could tell it was a woman or maybe a person strapped to the tree, a few of them strapped to the tree, and they were burnt alive. You could smell the rotting flesh or the burning flesh. You could smell it all in the air. You see the ashes flying.
Yeah, I'd be scared of that. So why
terrified.
not be scared?
Well, don't be scared because you have to face them down. Back then, they had to face them down. But also don't be scared because of the negative energy that's derived from it. You want to be careful. You're adding to the fuel to the fire, right? Fear is one of the things that demons, their gods, thrive upon. So if you're terrified when you see this, if you freak out, and it's only human, like this is not normal, right? This is something crazy, something only crazy people do.
Or non-humans.
Non-humans, exactly, because they weren't human. And that's a discussion for another time. The Nephilim tribes weren't human. So you see this and you're like, holy crap. I'll be honest with you, it would shake me if I saw it. But Jeremiah's, you shake it off and get ready to fight them. Shake it off. Don't feed into it because that's what they want. So that's why he said, don't be scared. I mean, if you were to walk up on a tree, you see all these corpses hanging from it, the ornaments. They would also strap gold around the trees too. They would strap chains of gold, things like that around the trees. And this was all given to their gods who would promise them a good next year, a bountiful harvest during the next seasons. This is what all these promises were for. or they would, or just invoke their gods to come into their reality to help them fight the Israelites. So there was a lot of reasons why they did these things from a magician standpoint, but a lot of it was also had to do with their eugenics program.
Well, so a lot of people, you can find a lot of people talking about this stuff all over the internet, YouTube, TikTok. You know, they all say, okay, these traditions originated they're from Yule, they're from pagans. These are pagan holidays. But honestly, from what you're saying, these symbols are much older.
Much older.
Much older than that. So while sounds like those cultures continued those rituals and practices, but the origin is actually much older and much darker.
Oh yeah. The pagans that we know about, they practice sacrifices. The neo-pagans we know today are peaceful, pleasant individuals, but their predecessors were extremely violent. And before that, their predecessors were even more violent. The Canaanites.
Before the flood.
Yeah, before so those guys were even more violent. But the Canaanites, when they were defeated, they spread throughout the world, which is the reason why you have these traditions that passed to other cultures. So Europe is one of the places where a lot of the Canaanites fled when they were defeated and expunged from the Holy Land. They fled and they went into Europe, and that's where you still get the whole concept of trees from, and sacred groves and sacrifices that need to be done on those. So this is similar practices. They all originated in, but it changed a little bit. It started becoming softer, as crazy as that might sound. So they would sacrifice usually not just babies or women, but they would sacrifice people that they captured rather than their own people. So over time, it just became a little more sensible. I know it sounds crazy, but because it was so much worse before. And then eventually we have what do we have now, which is just putting up a tree and mimicking it, what happens. But they also just do foul stuff too. Like if people didn't want to cooperate with sacrifices, they would kill the entire family by basically boarding them inside their homes, surrounding them, setting the house on fire, and killing everybody while they're inside. And then they would sing to their God. They would sing praises to their God while this was happening. This is where you get the tradition of caroling from.
And putting lights on your house.
And putting lights on the house, yeah. They would set the person's house on fire and then sing and to their God, chant to their God. You chant to their God to will them into reality. So sacrifices didn't want to go along, right? You're going to sacrifice. No, we're going to just stay inside our house and hold out, right? Oh, no, that's not going to happen. We're going to lock you inside your house. We're going to bar you inside your house from the outside and burn the whole thing down while you're in it. And we're going to chant to our God while it's happening.
That is so dark.
Yeah.
That is dark AF. That's sick.
Yeah. There's a reason why the Old Testament warnings. There's a reason for the Old Testament warnings. The ancient prophets knew what they were talking about.
Wow. Anything else? The wreath on the door? Anything else?
The wreath on the doors, all that stuff, all the symbol, all of the iconography that goes behind it, all of it goes back to those traditions right there.
Wow. That's insane. Okay. So has your Christmas been ruined yet? Mission accomplished? So now that our Christmas has been ruined,
you're welcome.
What can we do? What is safe to do? What practices are safe? What can we do to still celebrate the season and just be joyous?
So, well, first we have to understand what we're dealing with. So these are talismans that are rooted in demonic conjuration that provide ether transference into ancient rituals, right? So that's the magician's definition of what we're dealing with. To avoid adding to this fuel to this fire, energy to this stuff, and to avoid allowing demonic influence over your life, because that's what it is inevitably going to do when you do this. And a lot of people, they'll say, "Oh, I'm fine. I've been doing it for years and I'm fine." That's okay. Some other individuals might run into some horrible stuff, right? Demons are not like God. They're not everywhere at once. They have to pick and choose who they mess with. So remember that. So if you want to prevent your home from having demonic talismans, effigies, things like that, I'm sorry, people, but the tree can't go up. It can't. You're going to have to obey the prophets of old and obey the word of God. Get rid of the tree. Get rid of it. Get rid of anything that has to do with this Yule stuff. If you're a Christian, get rid of it. Get it from your home. Now, this doesn't mean to be terrified when you see it. Remember, don't be terrified when you see it. This doesn't mean to go against anyone who does keep their tree up, because that's just spreading negativity and creating contention. You want to love and accept people. Remember, Jesus says, forgive them for they know not what they do. Not everyone's going to have this knowledge. The media is a powerful tool and it's brainwashed so many of us. So forgive them, love them, accept them, and try not to spread negativity. Just protect yourself. And when people are willing to learn and they want to listen, then help them and teach them. But here's what I do. I put up a nativity scene. That's what I like to do. I like to burn candles. I like to burn frankincense and myrrh to honor Jesus when he was born. That's what the wise men gave to him, frankincense and myrrh. And I set it up in the middle of my living room. I have there's a large one, nativity scene on a big table. And that's where I put the presents. Now, there's nothing wrong with giving people presents. That's a nice thing to do. Jesus wants you to give to others. So this is how you celebrate the holidays without allowing demonic influence to affect you. Nativity scene, presents, frankincense and myrrh. You could buy some. I like to buy mine from Wildberry Incense. Shout out to them. They're awesome.
They're not our sponsors.
They're not our sponsors.
This is not sponsored in any way.
This is not sponsored. This is just me telling you where I get my stuff from. That's it. As I believe in them and I like their products.
It is the best quality.
Yeah.
I will say that.
It's really good quality stuff and you get a lot for a good fair price.
Maybe we can get Wildberry to sponsor us because we use it all the time.
God willing. And, some candles. I don't like having any iconography on my candles at all. I just do strictly white candles or black candles. Depends on what you like. The color doesn't really matter. Red candles, whatever. The color doesn't really matter. And yeah, that's how I like to celebrate it. Put the presents there for the fur babies. And then we gather around Christmas morning. We give praise and thanks to Jesus for having what we have and open the presents and dish them out to everyone and start spreading positivity. Remember, it's always best to have positive intentions. Love triumphs over all. As flowery as that may sound, love triumphs over all. So if you remember that, you'll be fine. Just that's how you. And if you ever have any questions, feel free to email me or Danica Simone here, or just hit me up in Instagram, and I'll be willing to help you out if you have any questions. If you don't remember what I'm saying here, or if you need ideas or whatever, I'm here for you. So just to reiterate the important message of love, this doesn't mean fear someone or treat them bad because they're still putting up a Christmas tree. If anything, avoid that. Love them, accept them, try to educate them. And if they don't listen, don't force it on them. You don't want to create any more negative energy than you have to. And just remember not to treat anyone bad because they still practice these. We've all been tricked, all fall short of the glory of God. Yeah, so that's just because people have a tendency to take information and feel holier than thou and try to lord it over individuals. Don't do that. And don't treat pagans bad just because, their ancestors did vile things. All of our ancestors have done vile things. So there's no group of people on this planet that's hands are clean. So I just want to leave with that.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Pagans today, they practice herbalism. Honestly, they're not evil.
Well, there are some evil ones, but there's not the mainstream ones that we know about.
Yeah, not the mainstream ones. Yeah.
And I wouldn't even call them pagans. I would call them Luciferians. So that's a topic for another time.
Hopefully we didn't ruin your Christmas too bad. Okay, so let's get on to our questions. We have 2 questions from Kelly. Kelly the Jabberwock, our OG, our number 1 fan.
Hey, Kelly, we love you.
So first question. Some people believe in using ancient languages like Latin or the original language of the Bible when speaking to demons. Do you think that this is more powerful, or do you think that English is more powerful because of our emotional link to each word that we say through understanding it?
It's a really good question. You want to take it or should I?
I think it depends on the situation. Like you had mentioned before, there's more power behind Latin because, like you said, it's the old language. It's what the old spells were used with and old prayers and rituals, they were used in that language. Frequency is already tied to those words and those phrases. That being said, though, if you don't know the correct pronunciations, or if you're just not fluent in Latin, you don't know what each word individually means, you might say something wrong. Like you might mess it up and then either nullify the meaning behind it, or you might actually make it worse. So me personally, I don't know Latin. I'm not familiar with it. And I'm really bad with pronunciations. Like I don't even speak Spanish because I'm really bad with pronunciation. So I would personally just stick with English. Like Kelly posed, it's what you're comfortable with. It's what you're familiar with. It's the meaning of the words. You know what your intention is behind each word you're saying as you're saying it. So it's stronger in that way to just use your native language, whether that's English or Spanish, Portuguese, wherever you're from. Yeah, that's what I would say. Go with whatever you're most comfortable with. If you have studied, if you're like a demonologist and you have studied Latin, by all means use it. But unless you're really comfortable with it, I would just pass that up, like forego that.
Yeah, that's correct. I would say so. That's a good answer. And I want to add a little bit more to that, because the universal consciousness remembers incantations, mantras, sigils, talismans, all that stuff. The universal consciousness remembers it all. So there's this energy that gathers behind previous use of it, and the objective reality always overcomes subjective. So words of power, no matter what language they are, they still carry that resonance with them. But you have to, like Simone said, you have to pronounce them correctly. The enunciation is very important. So my advice, though, is when you're beginning as a practitioner, just focus on your own language, the one you're most comfortable with, because you'll be operating mostly from the subjective view, and that will cause change and conformity to your will through the immediate. So when you start becoming way more advanced, then yeah, I would suggest start learning other languages. But for now, just focus on yourself. Like, just if you're trying to banish a negative entity from your home, you don't need to know Latin. You don't need to know that. It helps, but it does not. It's not a necessity. Remember the four steps to successfully casting an incantation: focus, willpower, intent, faith. Those four things are needed for everything that you do, regardless of the language. So you can speak English comfortably. As long as those four are behind it, you're good to go. But just remember, resonance is very important. So know what you're saying. You have to know what you're saying. It takes research to be a magician. You can't just come out the gate and say something, because you might be cursing yourself without even realizing it, speaking a language like Sanskrit or Aramaic. You don't understand what you're saying, and you come out the gate. Maybe the enunciation is correct, but you don't know what the meaning and intent behind the words are. So be careful when using foreign languages, foreign sigils, anything you don't readily understand, because you could be opening up a can of worms you're not ready for.
Yeah, and just to add on another thing, you mentioned intent. Intent is very important.
Very important.
When you are cleansing your space or yourself, trying to remove attachments from yourself, the intent is really, really important. I would say the intent is even more important than the words you say. As you say the words to remove the attachments, whatever mantra you want to use, it's a fine line. The intent needs to be, you need the secret sauce that people don't talk about. I'm giving you free stuff here. Okay. The secret sauce is confidence. That's number one. Confidence. You rule your space.
That's willpower.
Your home. Yeah. Your home is your space. It is your domain. It is your castle. You are the king or the queen of your castle. What you say goes. Nothing's allowed to come in unless you allow it in. You have to have that confidence, that ownership. And not only is it about your house, your dwelling, it's also about your body. You need to own your body. Okay. That's another side tangent. So sorry. With all the things all over media, like commercials, selling products, they all come after us. They've always come after us our entire lives. You're not pretty enough. You need this makeup. You need this serum for your skin. You need plastic surgery. You need all this. You are not good enough the way you are. You are not good enough. You need to change everything. You're not tall enough. You're not whatever. We're constantly being bombarded by these messages. And to combat that, you can do whatever you want. You can do whatever you want with your body. No judgments, whatever makes you comfortable in your body so that you own your body. An entity cannot possess you if you are fully present within your skin, within your body, and happy in your body. They tear you down. They make you doubt yourself. And that's the gateway. That's how they get into possessing you. They tear you down. So the number one thing is confidence. You own your house, you own your space, you own your body, and nothing can come in at you. Now, there's a fine line between confidence and anger. We have had clients who have called us up because they're like, I don't understand what, I tried doing the cleansing myself and I don't understand what happened. And I was yelling at it and I was getting angry with it. That's a negative frequency.
Just feeding it more. I don't mean to laugh. We're all learning, but
it's a very thin line. And when you're under attack, when you're under siege, you want to get angry. You're like, how dare you? How dare you come into my space and try to attack me? It's really easy to get into anger, but they actually want that. Yeah. They want that. They will feed off of that, and the situation will get worse. So the secret sauce, a lot of people don't talk about, is you just have to own your space with confidence, and that's the intent you have to have, that you own your space.
Well, I would say that's more willpower. Willpower, demons are always trying to take over individuals with small will. Intent itself is, intent behind it is what you visualize. I mean, it blends both similar. Lines. They're very similar, but willpower is more like the confidence, the control, the self-efficacy. Intent, and within the element of spell crafting, intent is what programs the spell. So if you're like, I want to banish this is my intent for you to be gone, but the willpower is what charges it.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
They go hand in hand. Yeah,
because you can't have the power in that intent without that confidence, without that ownership.
And they blur lines.
Yeah,
you'll find eventually the four elements of spell casting. They blur lines together, and one hand washes the other. All four elements take care of each other and empower each other to some extent. Yeah. So hopefully that answers your question. Giving away a little few advanced tidbits there of being a magician.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We gave away some of our secret sauce, but that's okay. That's what we're here for. Okay. So second question. Do you believe that demonic entities are influencing the world in big ways right now? For example, in politics? If so, in what ways?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Well, you have to understand what Lucifer's end goal is. It's real simple. Absolute complete control and subjugation over the material realm. Absolute complete control of subjugation and transformation of humanity away from God's image and into Lucifer's image. Yeah, I firmly believe it. And you see it, like we just got done discussing the Statue of Liberty. Giant statue to Satan. Lucifer. I'm sorry, I shouldn't say Satan. Satan is the archaic name for Lucifer because Lucifer used to hold that title. I'm pretty sure she doesn't hold it anymore. But yeah, so it's definitely there. It's all over. You can see it all over the place. Once you start to open your mind, it becomes there. It's everywhere. It's everywhere, and they're trying to feed into it the worst aspects of humanity. Our leadership is always trying to bring forth war, pestilence, famine, lack of free will. They're always trying to suppress the message of Jesus Christ because they know the answer is simple. It's Jesus Christ. The answer is very simple, at the same time very complex. Jesus Christ is the answer to everything. You're trapped in a state of original sin. All this bad stuff's happening. You need Jesus. That's the answer, but they never provide the answer, and they're always trying to suppress it, right? They always want you to go somewhere else to find the answer, and you usually end up not finding what you want. So you have to be careful with a lot of these false prophets that Jesus warned you about. That you see so much despair, so much awful stuff happening. They never have the answer. The answer is Jesus. They always want to dance around what the answer actually is. It's one individual off the top of my head. I used to like him a lot, David Icke. But everything he says is rooted in negativity. Extreme amounts of negativity, too. And he never has the answer. The answer is Jesus.
Yeah, I don't want to discredit him because he brings to light a lot of things, and he's like one of the first.
He does.
And he was shunned for the longest time. And even now, people call him crazy and everything, but he was like the first one to come out and start talking about the evil that is hidden in plain sight.
But it's after a while, you start finding yourself. Where's the answer, David?
It's a lot of doom and gloom and negative and scary stuff. But yeah, give me a solution. Give me a way to fight this.
Where's the solution?
Yeah. It's too much negativity.
It's too much negativity. Yeah. So you have to understand, the word of God in Jesus Christ. That's the solution. And once you come to that conclusion, you understand how to escape this reality and how to uplift yourself, even though we're living in the world controlled by Lucifer. So yeah, it's the Bible even says that this is Lucifer's world. So hopefully all that answers your question. Do you have anything to...
So no wonder it feels like hell on earth.
Yeah. I mean, think about it. We just got to talk about all the human sacrifices. What was that doing? It was terraforming our world, making it more and more negative. So we're getting further and further away from God. And people wonder why we live short lifespans compared to our ancestors, because we're surrounded by negativity right now. It's like when you pluck a flower out of the garden it's supposed to be in and you put it inside a vat of sulfuric acid. Of course, it's not going to last that long. It's not where it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be thriving in the garden, not sitting in this bucket of battery acid, right? And that's technically what's happening to us.
Yeah, let's not talk today about our unhealthy diets and...
Yeah, we'll go into that. Not just diet, but also unhealthy.
It's everywhere.
Spiritual practices, everything is just bringing us down, You live in a world that's designed to keep you from thriving. It's a miracle if you do.
Yeah. And even the food we eat doesn't have the nutrients that it used to have.
Yeah.
And even if you get organic, it's not the way God intended it. It's not what he gave us. They've ruined it for us.
The demonic controllers are attacking your mind, your body, and your spirit. And we can go into, that's a really good topic. We can go into that probably in its own episode about all the evil that controls the world and all the things that they're doing.
Yeah.
We covered to some extent, like the bad stuff they're doing, like Bohemian Grove and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Whole other topic for another day. Okay. Thank you again, Kelly, for those questions. Those were really great questions.
Magnificent questions.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even get to say my part. I agree with what you said. Like we touched on earlier, I really think that the church has been infiltrated. And like I said, they don't teach the true teachings from the Bible. It's very censored and they twist it. So that's number one. And honestly, I think even politics, I don't vote. I'm not registered to vote. I don't want to have anything to do with it because it's all rigged. It doesn't, both sides. I don't mess with that because I am one person. I'm not changing it. I can't change it with my one vote because it is rigged. The system is rigged for their own agenda. And it doesn't matter which party. It doesn't matter. We're screwed either way, honestly. Like we said, I don't want to be doom and gloom about it, but like we said, everything from the food we eat, everything's tainted. The water we drink, nothing is the way it was intended, the way that God gifted us this earth. A lot of animals have been gone extinct. Yeah, I mean, everything's been poisoned.
Now that I think about it, we need to do an episode on the church, the corruption of the church. Father Gabriel Marth warned us about that too. And I mean, honestly, it's been taking place since the Council of Nicaea, the corruption of Christianity. We need to cover that and how Christianity was infiltrated by evil and started even killing off our psychics during the witch trials. So then that was coordinated by dark forces that took over the church and were trying to eliminate our magicians. So
yeah, and the Vatican sanctions exorcisms, or rather, I should say, they don't.
They don't anymore. Yeah, what's going on?
Yeah, they have assessors come out and they assess a situation, and if it's bad, they will say, "Hey, yeah, we need to do an exorcism here."
Father Gabriel was warning about that too. They stopped doing it.
More often than not, most of the time, the Vatican will say, "No, denied," because they don't want to remove the demons. They want it to fester. They want the demons free to roam and to create havoc.
Yeah, well, those are their buddies. But hopefully this new Pope, I really like him a lot. He just started. I think this is year one for him. We're coming up on right now. He just started. I really like what he's doing. He seems to be very righteous and very biblically oriented. So fingers crossed that this guy's the real deal. Supposedly the last pope was the last pope was supposed to be the last pope. That's what a lot of people were saying. So hopefully we're seeing a new dawn in the church and someone who's going to take the reins of leadership and return it back to Christ. We'll see. I'm trying to stay optimistic about this, but
Here's the thing.
I'm always a little apprehensive.
I mean, but what has been written will be.
Yes.
Okay, so we already know the end game.
Yeah, we know the
It's
end
happening.
game.
At this
Yeah.
point, it's just delaying the inevitable.
Yeah. Yeah, we know the end game, but it's going to be a rough journey getting there. I can't wait to get there, but it's going to be rough getting there.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that on another episode.
Yeah.
as well.
It'll be a whole episode in
We've gone
itself.
off on some awesome tangents for future episodes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so let's do some housekeeping. Again, just a friendly reminder, new episodes come out every second and fourth Wednesday. We are on YouTube, Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcasts.
Wow.
Yeah, we're on a lot. And I think we're also on, I think a few of them blasted out to like even other places. So I think, I don't know what it's called, but we had a random view on like Podio or something. I don't know what it's called. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So I think maybe Amazon or maybe it's Spotify. Like,
Well, hello to our random viewer on Podium.
we've been getting a lot of views. Our to date. So I think the Alien episode part 2 got our last episode got a lot of views.
Thank you for that. I saw the numbers. I was like, this is more than I was expecting.
Yeah.
For episode 2.
But to date, our best performing episode still, like people are still watching it, is the Halloween special where we talked about demonic dolls and Annabelle
Yeah, nice.
and doll possession. That is the best performing episode. So maybe we'll take that into consideration and do more of those.
Praise God. All right.
I mean, we have these topics that we plan on talking about every episode. We have it mapped out, and then somehow we always end up back to demons.
I'm not saying it's demons,
But it's demons.
So what else on the docket for house clean?
Okay, so again, we're on Discord. Join the conversation on Discord. Meet people, like-minded people, have, debates, share your theories, get crazy with it.
Just keep it civil.
Keep it civil. Yeah, everyone's
We're all
entitled.
trying to learn here.
Everyone's entitled to their own opinions. Look, we're not claiming to know everything. A lot of this is purely hypothetical.
I've had so many mentors that have taught me over the years. A lot of them smarter than I am that put me to shame. So, yeah, I don't claim to know everything. I've definitely been humbled by life.
I'm waiting for people to come at you just for saying Lucifer's a woman, because I don't think I've ever heard anyone. No one says Lucifer's a woman.
You have to think about the description of Lucifer being the most beautiful angel. Men aren't beautiful. We're ugly creatures.
Yeah, I honestly think we could do
That's a little theology joke there.
I think we could literally do a whole episode just on Lucifer.
Well, that goes back to what I was saying. You have to study what the other side is saying. You also have to look, it's right there in scripture too. A lot of them just gloss over, but you have to study what the other side is saying as well. And the other side are worshiping a woman.
Under the guise of Mary.
Under the guise of Mary, under the guise of other things. But yeah, they're worshiping a feminine looking creature. So.
And yet, women get so much hate.
I mean, that goes back to what God was saying. I'll put enmity between your seed and the woman's seed. That's why women get targeted by Lucifer so much. Sacrifice them on the tree. Ever notice that?
Yeah. And again, women are targeted more than men as far as beauty products, plastic surgery.
Corruption of the spirit, corruption of the mind. Women get targeted the most. I would dare say that women are bombarded by more negative meta programming than men are. Yeah, definitely. It's definitely targeted. Definitely targeted against them. A lot of things that I can get very controversial about right now, but we won't open that can of worms because we're about to close out this episode anyways.
Yeah, like I said, we could do a whole episode just on Lucifer. So yeah, join Discord. And yeah, keep it civil. Again, this is all just theory. This is from our research, but nothing's written in stone except for death in Texas. Okay, so our book club on Fable, we are finishing out this week. Our current read from November is Captured, the Betty and Barney Hill UFO experience. And so we're finishing that out this week, and we will roll into the next book, our December book, which is The Butcher, the Tree, and the Goat, Christmas Traditions You Never Knew Were Terrifying, The Dark History of Christmas Traditions by Lorton Deering. It's a very short read. It's only 44 pages. I think it's geared towards like teenagers. And so it's a really short read. It is available on Kindle Unlimited. So if you have that, it's a free download. I just thought, I was trying to find, obviously, our theories go pretty deep. And it's very hard to find. We actually talked about this. I think since AI came out, ChatGPT, all that during COVID and everything, I really think that these AIs are programmed to rewrite things or delete things off of the internet. It's very hard to find old texts, original texts. A lot of stuff is just getting rewritten or deleted. So I tried really hard to find something that had these older stories, like you were talking about, the true origins of the meaning of Santa Claus and
You
the
have to
tree.
do a lot of digging.
It was very hard. It was very hard. And so this book obviously doesn't get to that point. They're different. There are other stories. I think they're more related to Yule. So anyway, it's a short read. It'll be an easy read. Nobody's got time during Christmas to read anyway. So it'll be a short, easy read. And then just a reminder, if you want to send in questions, you can do it on Discord. You can suggest topics, send in questions, and you can also email us if you don't want to get on Discord or share publicly.
Or message us directly on Instagram as well.
Yeah. So you can email us at theveilbetweenpodcast@gmail.com. You can find me on Instagram and TikTok at Arcana District.
Or at Guy Quintero.
For both, right?
For both. Either or. Yeah.
Yeah. Instagram and TikTok. And then I don't do sales. So I really don't. I'm not here to sell anything really. Just want to help people. But I've received a few questions, had people reach out to me. So we do have some books. We have a few journals. We have the tarot journal. We have the dream journal. And we have this coloring book, spirit animal coloring book.
And our handbooks, right?
Yes. And so these are on Amazon. And the links to them, I'll put them in the description. They're listed on my website under store. And I also have links directly to the Amazon store as well. But also on the website on Arcana District store, we've created together no fluff handbooks. Now, these are very short. They're PDF only. They're PDF downloads. So it's not a full book. But we call them no fluff because they're so short. We purposely kept them short. We took out all the filler.
Yeah, because you read the older grimoires, the older mystic books, and this is not to throw any shade at them. That's where our roots are as magicians. But when you read them, you realize there's a lot of fluff there because the publishers wanted 200 pages minimum or whatever. So there's a lot of fluff there. So it makes it very superfluous. You have to dig through a lot of commentary to get to the actual practitioner information. So this is what we're trying to do is we just gutted that information and gave you what you needed to know so you could start defending yourself immediately.
Yep.
Without having to read 200 pages.
Yeah. And these are practices, rituals that you and I do when people hire us. This is what we do. We perform these rituals. This is how we do house cleansings. This one is a free one that I offer. It's a free download. It's available because we want to give you the tools right now to protect yourself. This is the Beginner's Psychic Shield Ritual. This is what I used when I first started. This is what I used to fight and protect myself from the psychic attack that was ongoing for 3 months before I figured out what to do. This is what I used. It's not exactly the same as the ritual that was provided in the vampire book. This is what I boiled it down to. This is what worked. And so this is a free download. Go grab it. Use it today. Protect yourself today.
It's a culmination of multiple books on psychic self-defense.
This is what is tried and true and has worked.
Yeah.
And then we have 3 others that are on sale. They're only $4.99. We're not getting rich off of this.
Yeah, we're not trying to. Actually, the purpose behind selling these isn't to turn a profit, but what we do with the money, the proceeds that we get for this, is that we help pro bono cases, people who might not be able to afford the services, because it gets expensive. The reagents and things like that for cleansing rituals, they get expensive after a while. Not everyone can afford it. So what we do with the proceeds for this is we take it and we use it so that we can get out to these people, help to offset our costs for gas and materials and reagents that are needed for the rituals, so that they don't have to worry. Every time you buy something from us, it goes towards a good cause. We're not just trying to line our pockets to get rich. We're trying to do our best to
we provide pro bono work.
Provide pro bono work, and to continue this war to help those in need.
Mm-hmm.
To finance it, because we're not necessarily here the March of Dimes.
Yeah, and we don't just I know we've said this before, but we don't just go in and do the cleansing. We also provide extra materials,
resources,
so that they can continue the maintenance and have a buffer to be able to order more. And we give them all the resources, the links. This is where you can buy these things. But yeah, we give them like a kit.
Yeah.
A kit that they keep with them, that'll last them a little bit. So it's a lot of materials. The tools are expensive. It adds up very fast.
It is. It's a lot more. It's more than just sage and Palo Santo. There's a lot of stuff you need out there to combat all the different nomenclatures of evil that might be trying to invade your home.
And this all comes back to, I never want anyone to feel alone and lost and being under attack and not knowing where to turn.
It's a horrible feeling, huh?
That is why we do what we do. That is why we do pro bono work. It's not right. It's not fair that when you turn to priests and you turn to the so-called experts, no one helps you, or they'll straight up tell you, people who claim to believe you to be a part of that life, they'll still call you crazy, or it's too hot for them to handle. They don't know what to do because they're just running around trying to catch stuff on camera. So they're not actually there to help you.
Some of the ghost facers.
Ghost facers.
Yeah, and so this is our coloring book right here. This is a fun little thing someone made for us, so that it's great. It's a great gift for the holiday season, for kids or for adults. Sometimes I have one and I just kind of color it in when I'm just trying to relieve some stress. These are a lot of fun. These dream journal and tarot journal, they're a lot of fun also when you're beginning the journey as a magician and you want to keep track of everything. Information and records are very important when you're starting off as a magician in your journey. So you can keep track of things, go back, see how much you progress, see what you've learned, or remind yourself of what you might have forgotten.
Yeah. So with it being the holiday season, if you want to give it as a gift, that'd be cool. But again, we're not all about
this isn't about profit. It's just about helping other people.
Yeah. And if you can't, or don't have the funds, that's totally fine.
No pressure. Yeah.
What would help us a ton is to just, if you're enjoying this show and you want more episodes like this, it would mean so much if you would just, whatever platform you're on, viewing on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, please leave us a review. It means so much. It'll help spread the word. Also, share it with a friend, share the show with anyone that you know that may really be interested.
Yeah.
Enjoy the content the information we're putting out there.
Yeah. Likes, shares, subscribes, comments. Those are free and they help out a lot too. So we really appreciate it.
Yeah. That would be a wonderful Christmas gift. Bring it full circle.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, everyone. I hope you all have a happy holidays, whatever holiday you celebrate. And hopefully we didn't ruin your holiday too much. And yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Bye.
Thanks for joining us, fam.